I'm your host today, Jamie Dorley. I'm the CEO of Nutritional Frontiers, and I have the co-host, the one and only Joe Messino. Welcome back, Joe.
Oh, Monday. Boy, what a special guest today.
We are very excited to have on a close personal friend, a colleague, and one of the leading doctors in the field of natural healing and functional medicine. She's been a trainer not only for our team at Nutritional Frontiers, World of Wellness, our number one requested speaker. She was the VP at Trinity School of Natural Health. She's worked for Zyto, and now she works for GetHealthy.store, doing an incredible job, and one of our top clients, and, of course, one of our favorites, of course, of all time. And now one of the top authors, Joe,
New York Times, right?
New York Times best-selling list. And I absolutely love the book. It's the Mommy Apothecary ebook.
Yep.
And, I know you bought one, of course, and I had to buy one too. And, it was so cool because of the way it was formatted, such an easy to read book, and so much great knowledge and information in there and education. So let's give a warm welcome to our one and only Dr. Tracy Strout, and she is live from Tyrone, PA. Welcome back, Dr. Tracy.
Wow, thank you. I'm so excited to be back. It's like I never left.
You haven't. So we're excited that you are.
Every time you try to leave, we pull you back in.
We want to thank you again for joining us at the World of Wellness Week number 100. You and Dr. Judy did an incredible job of educating and, helping so many people and doing the book signing. And I know you're excited to work on our educational series this year. She's not sure where she's going to be. We'll just tell her right before. We'll send a helicopter to go pick her up.
It's not you, it's me, I promise you. Every time I get messages from people and they're like, oh, you're going to be in Florida. I'm like, I am? And it's not that you didn't tell me. It's just that I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But
well, we're excited you're going to join the team down in Sand Key, which is right south of Clearwater. That is coming up right around the corner. That is March 31st to April 2nd. It's a big weekend. Practice what you preach, a mind, body, and spirit experience for all healthcare professionals, and you'll be one of our headline speakers. So we're really excited for that. Plus, that's a special weekend. That's Dr. Judy's birthday that weekend.
Yeah, yep, and somebody else's, I hear.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I had no idea that her and I shared the same birthday. Makes a lot of sense now.
Yes, it's all becoming clearer. So we so grateful for you joining the show today, and really want to help people understand out there, one, the importance of having this book, right? And then most importantly, how to get it. So I know you got quite a few books in that head of yours. So what made you finally bring out the Mommy Apothecary ebook?
Actually, it was necessity. I wanted people that were in my care or even beyond my care who are educated now and know the value of health to actually have what they needed on hand. A lot of people will message me late at night, and say, little Jimmy has an earache, or what can I do for this? And they just don't have the right things on hand for me to be able to help them. So it was more of a resource for me to say, these are the products you should have on hand. I mean, it's a little blurry right now, but in the background, I have my full shelf of all kinds of supplements, majority Nutritional Frontiers, but I also have homeopathy and things like that. And, all different types of delivery systems as well for all different types of people, from children to elderly. So it was more of like, hey guys, if you're going to text me at midnight and you need my help, I need you to have these things in your apothecary so that we can come to, a solution for you. And so the webinar that I did was, hey, just come learn. And then somebody asked me if I could put it into a format that they could print. So I took it. I took the MP3, which is the recording of the webinar. I threw it into just a software that could, basically print it out in text. And then I took that and I just designed it into an ebook. So that's really how it came to be. And it's been a really good resource for people just to have on hand if they've graduated. And you guys know how it is. It's transactional for a while, right? You're chair to chair with somebody, but eventually you want them to learn what they can do to take care of themselves. So it's more of an empowerment move for people to take their health back at a time when, people lost a lot of trust in the allopathic system.
Yeah, I love that philosophy of yours. I remember, we have a similar background with our personal training, and, some people would hire a trainer forever, And me and Tracy would always be like, well, the idea is we want you to be able to train yourself and then come back to us periodically for some motivation if you have new goals and those type of things. And me and Joe have been around for a while. Remember, we grew up, it's called the medicine cabinet, right? Right? And now I like to transition to apothecary, right?
Yeah.
The mommy's apothecary, and having these things right on hand, because what do you always say, right?
If you don't have it, you can't use it, right? You
Right.
you got to have it when you need it, so it's got to be there.
Yeah, because oftentimes these things happen usually on Sunday night because people call in sick on Monday, of course, or don't go to school on Monday. It never happens Friday night, but it happens Sunday night. How are they going to get the products in their hands, right?
That's right.
And if they wait 2 or 3 days, I always say, how far can you go into the woods, right? Halfway, and then you have to come out. So when they say it's got to run its course, it's because it got too deep inside the body.
Right.
So I love the book. I was looking through it, and I love how she incorporates, not only things like colloidal silver, but supplements, right, from Nutritional Frontiers, essential oils, homeopathy. Oftentimes, healthcare professionals like Dr. Tracy, they'll just specialize in one area. But I love how she has the entire arsenal there, because you never know what you need. So how did you come up with all those great protocols? Because it's a really nice, comprehensive line that you carry.
Yeah, well, one from my own personal use and just experimentation on things that I use in my own personal family. I mean, we don't do the traditional go to the doctor and for every pill, for every ill, there's a pill. It's more of a lifestyle. And then, we try to do everything at home as much as we can. I'm not saying that acute care isn't necessary once in a while for people. Jamie, you always say, like, that's what that model's for. If someone's arm falls off, I don't have a homeopathic for that. They're going to have to go get it to the emergency room and get it put back on. But it was more for my personal use. And then what I used, with people in clinic, protocols that I put together that I knew worked, learning from some of the great minds in the industry, you guys, Kim Furman is another one. She taught me a lot on natural health. Joe, when we live out here in the sticks, we have to use sticks and rocks in our protocols. So there's a section of sticks and rocks in there so that you can learn to make.
I still remember the radio show we did with her and all of her country cures, right?
Well, yeah. But you know what? I mean, so I think that just years of experience, self-trials, working it out on my own kids. I always tell them, thanks for being mom's guinea pig, but, they're good sports. So that's kind of how it came up. But, Joe, to your point, we're coming to a time, I think, after the last 2.5 years where there was a lot of distrust of the medical model. I think it was exposed as that acute care system and not a lifestyle care system. The second part of that is now where we're seeing the FDA reach its hand in on homeopathy, on certain nutraceuticals, Jamie. When I was at Nutritional Frontiers, I know that they had pulled things that without warning, and we had to make very quick adjustments, in formulations that were heavily used by our practitioners. So it's not an easy place to be when you live in this place of uncertainty. And if you can teach people things, if you can teach them how to use the old remedies that grandma used to use, the remedies that were passed down that actually worked. And Joe, you probably have a lot, and so do you, Jamie. I mean, I remember my grandmother, making mustard poultices when we had belly aches, and, the things that we did
Jamie
that just
and
get
was
lost.
Pastina.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I mean, there was many things. I'm just, I'm having these thoughts back, especially living in the city. You're going back to the early to mid 70s. It wasn't I knew what black salve was.
Yeah.
Because back then you'd play outside, you get splinters, you get stings. It was a drawing salve. You'd put that on anytime you had something stuck inside you were trying to get out, right? And, that was just common. That was just in the bathroom. It wasn't anything thought of, right? Epsom salts. I mean, for swelling, you had a sprained ankle or you were sore from playing sports, they wouldn't give you Tylenol. They put you in the tub and you put the Epsom salts in. I mean,
we didn't have antibiotics. We had mercurochrome.
Oh, I like playing with the mercurochrome.
But once
right?
you got that stick out, it was coming. You're like, oh, that's gonna burn. So yeah, memories and PTSD all wrapped into one. It has a good and bad feel about it. But you're right, Jamie. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we did. And, I think medicine and nutrition, supplementation, has become so science-based We have so many biohacking formulations, and they're very needed because we're all very sick at this point from living on this earth. But there's also simplicity. There also are the things that still work that don't require a ton of education and knowledge about how the raw ingredients synergistically work together. And that's really what the book was. It was a in-hand solution to be like, okay, here's things that you can buy at the local CVS or Rite Aid. Here's some things that you can get from a few supplement companies that are my very favorites. And here are a few salves to keep on hand, along with some essential oils and things like that. And yes, colloidal silver is a staple in my house. I'm sure maybe people don't know what these things are, but having the wellness center, I mean, you have all these things at your fingertips. You could drive down to your wellness center and pick up anything that you needed, but people don't know what to get. They don't know what to buy. And, having a wellness center like World of Wellness where people can go in and purchase everything that's in my book. I mean, you can just walk in there, take the book with you in a shopping basket, and you'd be set within 40 minutes. And I'm sure
I'm thinking the Mommy Apothecary kit, right? The startup kit, right? Get Tracy's big smile right on the box, Joe. No, so I love the book because, and the key, like you're saying, is they got to have the formulas at their house because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to get any kind of momentum going against it. So I love the book. It's available now by ebook. What's the best way for people to pick the book up?
Yeah, well, Phil's throwing the book in the chat, it looks like. So you can pick it up that way just by clicking on it. And there is a discount code for today's special since people are on here and they're watching and it's good till Friday. Phil can put that up there as well if he wants. And it's just a real simple code because you guys are so special to me. It's NF special 50. It'll give them half off the book. So they can get it at half price until Friday.
Very generous. I know. I'm thinking, no, these are good
I
books
gave it to Dana anyway. So, yeah, I need one for me.
Yeah. We can go back and get one at a very special price now. But, yeah, they are good gifts. And it was one of the things that I put out over the holidays. I was like, this year, give people stuff that they're really going to need. I mean, people don't realize, Jamie, that having Immunomax on their shelf is really important. Air Max on their shelf, super important. Probezyme, CBD. Your small kit that you guys came out with that had all your samples in it, that is like an in-home mommy apothecary remedy that every family could have. And it has your CBD cream. It has all the things in it that are in the right delivery systems for kids that are easy. Right? You have your DMG you could throw in there. I mean, so many great things in that little kit you guys put together. And I know it was just a sample kit to show off all your products, but to me, I was like, heck, that's a rescue kit. Every mom should have that on their shelf. So.
Well, we love hearing that great feedback from you because, oftentimes people may not get the exposure we have, some of the unique formulations. I know you're talking about colloidal silver, that goes back all the way to the Holy Roman Empire, right? Mm-hmm. Nature's antibiotic.
That's right.
Right? It's been used for thousands of years with incredible uses. I mean, it's something we've had in the Wellness Center, not even by Nutritional Frontiers, by other companies like Argentin and some of the brands Tracy carries. But people know, hey, use that for your throat, right? Use it for your sinuses. Use it for your lungs. And I love how we do the combination of some of the nutraceuticals, right? And then also some of the home remedies, right? Because we're talking about lung therapy. Yeah, we have the NAC by Nutritional Frontiers. We have the immune kit. But how many times you hear Dr. Wanda talk about Vicks Vapor Rub?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And I first learned that from my dad.
Yeah.
I always have one on my desk. I always use it because my dad would use it. And I said, how do you know it works? He says, it just works.
It works.
He says, we grew up with that, right? Yeah. And, you learn these home remedies, and then you start to combine them with some of the more unique nutraceuticals. That's where it really brings it all together, and I'm glad you did this. So we have Dr. Tracy Stropp, of course, on Holistic Truth today with my co-host Joe Messino. And Tracy's done an incredible job writing this new book called the Mommy Apothecary ebook. Joe, I know you got one for the family. What were your thoughts when you read through it?
Oh, I mean, all I could think of when I read through it was, okay, Dana needs to do this. My daughter, right, who has the kids. Okay, this would be perfect for them. This will be perfect for Talia. This is what they need. Because it just was one thing after another. And it's like you said, you have to have them on hand. You know, that's the thing. And I remember, Tracy, when we were doing radio together, we used to tell everybody, get a bottle of vitamin D for every member of the family. They got to have their own, and then have one for an emergency. Someone gets sick, right?
And I love how you wrote the book. It's very easy to read, right? You don't need to have a huge science background or anything. But, right at the beginning of the book, Joe, she jumps right into it, right? And starts talking about the quality of nutraceuticals. So let's take a minute to talk about that, because usually when people start looking at the products, they read the top of the bottle, which is the price, and they may not realize that there's a huge difference in the quality. So I know with your background, you've been exposed to many product lines, and we have there's a lot of great ones out there, but we take a lot of pride at Nutritional Frontiers and having more of these comprehensive formulas. So what are some of the things you tell these mommies to look at when they're trying to determine quality?
Yeah, well, one of the things I think Amazon did really well was gather the universe into one place, right? They were like, this is what everyone's shopping for. They do cross sales, all of that. What most people don't understand is when you're buying supplements, right? And just from learning from you, Jamie, the sourcing of raw ingredients matters. So on something like Amazon, unless it's the brand themselves selling the supplement on Amazon, and I know that Nutritional Frontiers does not sell on Amazon, but somebody might take your product and sell it, and I know you guys go after them. So if it's not the brand themselves, then you don't know what you're getting. Amazon doesn't have a certificate of authenticity, which means they don't check their sellers. They don't say, oh, well, Mr. Smith here, who's going to sell this, supplement, we know that he's verified. He's a trusted seller. That's not what they do. In fact, in my book, there's a picture of somebody that was selling on Amazon who actually got a product from it, and it had all different capsules in the bottle. So at that point, you don't know what you're taking, because how difficult is it to get a label sealer, right, and go and seal it? Thanks, Phil. I was going to say, you can bring that up. Blow that up, Phil, so people can see that, because it was nightmarish. So that's an actual product that was sent to someone. As you can see, all different pills in there. And so the quality, you don't know what you're getting. So that's why when you go to some place like World of Wellness that has an online store where you can order, obviously you're getting 100% authenticated supplements, because they won't allow companies in their door that don't have a good quality behind them. So quality matters. I look at supplementation like I look at a grocery list. It's not additional, it's part of. It's not, you don't go eat good food and then have your supplements over here. It's part of your grocery budget. And I call it health budgeting. You should be investing in good quality supplementation, because you can have a lot of raw materials sourced from heavy glyphosate laden pesticide crops. You can have just crappy raw ingredients overall, things that aren't in the right forms. Jamie always talks about the right forms, the right amounts, and nothing else, right? That was kind of his key saying, and that's absolutely true. You can get a vitamin C, but what most people don't realize is it's made from GMO corn, where vitamin C at Nutritional Frontiers is sourced from acerola, which is a whole food cherry source and is actually more highly absorbable and organic. So it matters to put in a little bit of poison every day. Over 30 days is a lot in a month. And so you have to be careful with what you're getting, what you're taking. And that was one of the first things I started with when I was going to do this whole webinar. I did a TikTok video and I said, so you guys started taking vitamin C over COVID? Congratulations. You probably took about 98% of what you taken was glyphosate laden corn. And everybody was like, oh, but they didn't know. So, and I think that's a big thing, is we don't talk about quality enough. I know you do, but other supplement companies don't. They try to get you on price wars. And again, price is the number one converter for any type of purchasing, but you'd pay a little bit more to know that you weren't poisoning yourself. That's what I always tell people.
Yeah, it's like any other industry out there, right? Cars, clothing, houses, jewelry, it doesn't matter. There's quality in all industries, right? It's interesting that people in the supplement industry feel like there's no quality control, right? There's actually a lot of quality control. And in fact, the ingredients have been classified as GRAS by the FDA that we use, so generally regarded as safe. Now it's really up to the companies like us, Joe, to determine what dosing you need. And the most important thing is not only the dose, but the form. That determines absorbability, bioavailability inside the cell, the therapeutic effectiveness of it, and then the excretion of any byproducts. So it's the dose, it's the form of the ingredient is
Right.
probably even more important.
So much more.
And then what else in there you don't want, right? You see a lot of big, compressed, colorful tablets. What do you think when you see those?
When I see that, I think, number one, it's going to go right through you. You know, you're not going to break it down, these tablets. And usually they're coated, so you got like a shellac on there. That's obviously not a food-grade product. And then they're probably using the cheapest forms of the ingredients they can so they can pile as much of it into that tablet.
Yeah, and Tracy mentioned some of the toxic exposure in these, right?
Yeah.
What if there's dyes in there? Those colorful dyes that you're getting can be really toxic to for the brain chemistry.
You know, it's
right?
funny
So
you
when
bring
look
that
at-
up, James, because, you know, foods have had these dyes in them all the time, right? Red, blue, 40, whatever. And I think they conditioned people to think that they were okay. So if they see it
Well,
in
they
their
put 'em in
supplement,
the-
it's like, oh, it's in my
Right,
food.
they put them
too.
in the Flintstone vitamins.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And then, here
That's
you
like-
are working with other mothers, and they're dealing with kids with, challenges in general. And there you go, right? So let's hear your thoughts on that, Tracy, because these are loaded with dyes, low dosing, and inferior forms of the vitamins.
Well, I think the reasons that parents do something like this, like Flintstones or other type of gummy vitamins, and there are some okay gummy multivitamins for kids. At least they're a better step. That's what I tell moms. But it really is just getting your child to take it. So compliancy is huge. Not only do we have to look at quality, but I mean, how many times have we went through product development and set something back over and over again, said, doesn't taste right. It doesn't taste right. No one will take this. I mean, the new Power Fuel is delicious. I mean, you can have supplements that taste good. Also, that have a more unique delivery system and are easier to get into kids. The problem is there wasn't a lot of time spent on children when it came to nutrition that was valuable and taking the time to put it in a delivery system they would take, rather than just wrapping it in yellow 60 and red dye 40 and slapping some sugar in it and slapping Freddie Flintstone on the package and making them want to take it. You might as well set this right next to Fruit Loops. That's about how much nutritional value it has. Oh, wait a second. According to the FDA, Fruit Loops is, I guess, healthier than steak now. What was I thinking? Gosh, I almost had a coincidence there. But anyway, one of the things that I tell parents is this is junk food in a box that they're just selling at a higher price. There's low nutritional value. If you look at the forms of the vitamins, they're not the right forms. They have folic acid in these, which is a synthetic folate that your body has a really hard time to absorb. And with most kids today having an MTHFR polymorphism, they can't break down B vitamins as well, which is why we're seeing high anxiety, high ADHD in kids, all of the things that we see on this end. And then we're adding a supplement that's loaded with sugar that they chew, and also all these dyes that affect their brain. And we're trying to do it to make them healthier. And really, we're slowly poisoning our kids with all this other junk. So there's really not a lot of nutritional value. There's a lot of toxicity in these things. And I think if parents knew, they would make a better choice. So what I like about Nutritional Front, you could give your child just DMG, and that would be such an amazing supplement for them to take. You could give them the Pro Oranges, which taste incredible. You could do Pro Power Fuel, which is great. The Power Cleanse Shake, if your kids like smoothies in the morning. So there's so many other options out there now. We as parents have to start doing better. Just because we took the Flintstone vitamins as kids today doesn't mean that's what we should continue to do. And sadly, they're still the #1 seller for children's supplements.
Yeah.
It's like central.
It's all about marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
remember
is.
when we first met you at Nutritional Frontiers, and I think you actually had a baby that you were trying to help. Can you tell that story about your first exposure to Nutritional Frontiers and your experience with DMG? Because
Yeah.
oftentimes the people dealing with kids, they get even more conservative,
Yeah.
right? So you trusted us, and I appreciate that. And then love to hear that story again.
Yeah, so actually, Mike Gallagher was my rep, and I had my clinic downtown here in Sticks in Rockville, Tyrone. And a mom came in with her baby. He was 6 months, and he was beautiful little boy, but kind of having like a failure to thrive. Just he had low tone and was just lethargic, sick all the time. And I mean, I tried everything with this kid, everything, and nothing was working. And so I called Mike one day, and I was talking about my order, and I said, I got this baby. Do you have any suggestions? He's like, DMG. And I'm like, okay, well, what's that? He was like, just try, give him a whole dropper full. I was like, he's a baby, Mike. And he was like, yeah, I know. He's like, give him a whole dropper full. I said, okay. So I called the mom. I said, come on in. I want to try something. Mom came in, sold her a bottle. We gave the baby a dropper full right there, and she left. And the next day she called me. She said, I don't know what you gave my son. She said, but I want 10 bottles. She's like, he is like a new baby. He slept through the night. He's crawling,
That's
like
one of
all
the
the
best
things
stories.
that he
That's one of the
wasn't
best.
doing. He all of a sudden, and what she didn't realize, he must just have been a low methylator, right? We know that. But at the time I was like, wow, what is this miracle in a bottle? And it kind of changed my practice. It was one of the key nutrients that I gave everybody. It just is such an amazing product that you have, and really an industry best kept secret, I think. So it's an amazing, I love DMG. It's probably my top 2. SPMs are up there too now.
Yeah, and I loved how you laid it out in the book, Joe. She goes into quality, and I really love the part about God's pharmacy, right? And I love that quote. I'm just going to read it quick. It says, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything, right? And it's a quote from Genesis. And I loved how she put that in there, because there's actually a book in the Wellness Center, remember? God's Little Garden, right?
I do remember that.
And it was all the different recipes from the
Yeah.
Bible. And I think sometimes people make this a little too complicated,
Yeah.
with the diet. So I loved how you just brought it right back to reality. All the research shows, a diet at least half, of live fruits and vegetables is always the best way to go. You can debate about the proteins and the carbs and the fibers and fats, but the foundation should still be the fruits and veggies. So I know you mentioned the oranges, but what's been your experience with the Pro Colors with kids? Because they're so used to drinking these juices and Gatorades and all these other things, and I know you have some secrets you use to trick the boys, right?
Well, I
Did
have
they
to
ever
trick them
figure that
anymore.
out? No.
They're doing it now for the other kids, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, go spike your friends with this. Yeah. I'm actually like, don't, because you don't want him to get better than you. No, I'm just kidding. So, when you're working with a mom just coming out of the indoctrination camp of Flintstone vitamins and Gatorade, to totally just disrupt their lives is too hard. So I always talk to people about what they can do, what they will do, and what they can afford. So what can they do? Well, what they can do is work with their child to change their palate, right? So, for example, if they're drinking Gatorade, you may want to buy the orange Gatorade and then start to half it. Maybe put a little scoop of the oranges in there, add some nutrients to the Gatorade. Then eventually you can just wean them out of that. It's just like regular milk, right? Pasteurized milk. When someone's trying to switch their child from milk that they drank 4 or 5 times a day to maybe an alternative milk, it's very difficult. So I tell the mom, like, 3/4 milk and some almond milk, and then maybe half and half after a week, and then maybe 1/4 milk and more almond milk, and eventually that child's drinking almond milk because you've developed this palate. That is true with kids. They're on to you. They watch you as parents. When my kids started to get introduced to cereals, thanks, Mom. And she started. My mom's most famous quote at our dinner table. I'll get back to my explanation, but you had to hear this. She brought in Fruit Loops one time. And I was like, Mom, why do you keep doing this? I hate those things. I was like, why? She's like, there's fruit in them. At that point, I was like,
There's
I
fruit and
can't.
loops, right?
I was like, I can't. So anyway, so I used to take the bag of cereal that was in the regular, in the Mom's Best, which was like an organic cereal, and they had all the brands, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch replica and the Lucky Charms replica, and I would put the bag in the regular box of cereal so that my kids thought they were getting regular cereal. So yes,
Got
I lied to
all
my
the tricks in the
Yeah.
trade, Joe.
All of
She's
them.
got a lot
Well,
of
these
experience.
are the small lies that I teach moms of, it's we have created our own prison. We created our prison as moms because you're just trying to do all the things, and dads too, it's not just moms.
No,
So you gotta,
seriously, yeah.
work
No,
your
what's
way out
awesome
of it.
here is that I remember when I would get people on a program originally, like for personal training, right? and you have to meet them where they are.
Mhm.
And you have to show them that it's not always depriving, it's changing the sourcing. And I love what you're doing, because that makes it real world for people, right? Because sometimes you get them from 0 to 100, it's too extreme, and they're going to snap back. And even people with weight loss, whatever it may be. So I love how you're teaching people ways to transition, and it's all about making progress, right?
Yeah.
And that's the art of what you do. So just want to remind everyone to listen to The Holistic Truth. I'm the host, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host, Joe Messino. We have a very special guest. She's a doctor of naturopathic medicine, Dr. Tracy Straup, and she's the author of the Mommy Apothecary ebook, and we're really excited to have her on. She's given some great education, and she's giving you tools that you can make changes
the
right
important
away.
thing.
Right?
Yeah, I love that weaning process that you described. Even with milk. Yeah, I mean, there's so many kids. It's hard to get them. If you try to go from not regular, but milk in the store
fake milk.
to an almond oat or coconut, they're going to say, "Ugh." But if you can, wean them off and on to the good stuff. That's
And the
way
great
to go.
thing is, her book is a New York Times bestseller. It is on the list
Well, at least it
already.
will be
And
after
Where's
today.
volume 2? When's volume 2
the
coming?
book is available. So, Phil, how do they get the book? I got people texting me over here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, hold
Phone's
on, we'll get
blowing
to
up,
it.
Jamie.
It is actually, yeah. So we got a link here for Dr. Tracy's new ebook, The Mom's Apothecary. And the thing I love about the book is it gives you a lot of tips to create this apothecary in the home, so that when Junior's having a first sign or symptom, or even your spouse, what can you do about it? So really, really great. So we were talking about the diet component, right? And there's ways that you can incorporate these, maybe the pro colors, or even changing someone's diet. So what are some of the other ways you do that?
Yeah, well, popsicles, the pro oranges make great popsicles in the summer. And I'll tell you, when kids are hot and thirsty, they're not going to argue with me about this doesn't taste like, some sort of crappy popsicle that I got somewhere else. You can get popsicle makers off Amazon. They're real simple. Fill them up with the pro oranges, the pro reds, the pro purples, just make it as normal and freeze them. And you have great healthy popsicles that are hydrating through the summer. We do that. We make ice cubes out of them, so that if you just want some flavor in your water, but you don't want it too overpowering. Those are some of the things I do. I can honestly tell you that the Probzyme chewables are a huge hit in our house, so I have to hide them, or my kids will just, especially Luke, he'll eat everything. Like, he just walks around and eats supplements. Like, he just was raised on it. I think that's another thing, is give your kids time and opportunity. It takes 3 weeks for your child to develop a new neurological synapse for taste. So you can train them within 3 weeks to like something, not force them, but introducing it. A child has to see a food 10 times before they'll eat it, or even try it. We usually lose patience before the child will actually do it. So, give yourself a break. Make sure that you put these little changes in. Just drinking more water for your children. Take away the extra glasses of milk. No, they don't need it for calcium. Most of the time, kids fill up on milk, and then they don't eat their food. So we've done these things where Big Ag has come in and said, milk, it does the body good, 3 glasses a day. Well, a kid doesn't need 3 glasses of cow's milk. They're not a cow. They're not a baby cow. They just don't need that much. They need food, and a variety of food. And they need more fruits and vegetables than anything. The other thing is, whatever your child loves, I usually tell moms, let's remove the chemicals first. That's going to make a huge difference for you. So one of the things that I say is, everything that your child loves, walk down the organic aisle and buy it. So if they love chocolate chip cookies, buy organic chocolate chip cookies. If they love gummies, buy organic gummies. Because what you'll do is you'll start pulling out the chemicals that are toxic. And you're still giving them a choice of fun, sugary snacks that their body likes and is maybe addicted to at the time. Then what you'll see is that you'll pay $7 for a box of gummies, and you're going to quickly make a decision whether or not Jimmy gets a pack of gummies in his lunch every day, or maybe like every other day. And so you, as a parent, because the impact will be on you financially as well, you'll start making better decisions for your kids, buying whole fruits and vegetables. And that's the third thing. We don't present our kids with enough fruits and vegetables. Like, if you remember going to your grandma's house, my grandma always had a thing of saltines in the middle of her table, right? In this like cookie jar. And then she always had some sort of fruit on her table. It could have been bananas or apples or grapes, but it was always there. And that's the thing. Like we set our apples out, our bananas out. Lucas, the other day, we brought bananas in. I swear to you, he ate 6 in a row. I was like, potassium deficient much? Like, what is up with you, right? Like, he just was housing these bananas. But if we don't give them to the children, they can't go to the store and get them. So make sure you're presenting food that's pretty, that's colorful. Make sure that you wean your kids into a new taste bud development. Be patient. Present them with it. And if they really love something and it's a treat, that's a big thing. Like we go to the ice cream store when we want ice cream. It's a fun thing for us. We go down to Gardner's and we have ice cream. My mom, she likes to just have gallons of ice cream in the house. That's how I grew up, but it's not how my kids grew up. So grandparents are tough. I will say, I don't know. I don't have a remedy to the grandparent sabotage. That usually is the one thing that I haven't figured out. That might be my next book, how to offset grandparents and their sabotage of your children's health.
I can help you with that one.
You just make you? Yeah, just make you the grandfather?
Yeah, let's use me as the example.
Yeah, not only are you the godfather, you're now the grandfather.
The grandfather, yes.
Yeah, I think I love the part, you got to make it fun. I'm just thinking about my house right now. My wife went to Whole Foods on Saturday, and there was a lot of fruit. Even I was like, wow, because I like blueberries the most and blackberries, right?
We always have blueberries.
Yeah, those are always my favorite because they don't really have a big impact on blood sugar for me. They're a good, healthy snack. You can grab a handful. I like to take them even when I'm taking some of the vitamins because there's so many caps. Take a couple blueberries and then I'll drink some water. So it's a nice, easy way to start the day, right? And having them there, and then I'm picturing my daughters. Mom, can you cut the strawberries, right? I'm always hearing that in my head. And then cucumbers. For whatever reason, my kids always love cucumbers. So my wife was cutting some over the weekend. So I think, even she's smiling, right? You got to make it fun, get them involved. Somebody says, well, my kid just likes carrots. I says, good. Start there and then sneak something else in there, right? So you got to encourage it. It's not a punishment. Make it fun for the kids. You can sneak some things in and don't look like it, they're being deprived or, well, their friend has it. Well, I always say, your friend's not as lucky because they don't know about the good foods, right? So make it fun, make it part of, the house, and don't make it look like they're being under some kind of, being deprived for some reason, right? Yeah. So I love some of the strategies you have in the book. The book is available now, so we got the link Phil's going to put back up to help Dr. Tracy out and really to help out yourself, because when I was looking through the book, she had the quality at the beginning, and then she went into God's Pharmacy. Then she started laying out the different categories, right? So you got things like colloidal silver and then probiotics and supplements and homeopathy. So what are some of the must-haves for people? Because even though the book is really simple and we understand these things, sometimes I think it's a lot for people because, well, I need a multi, and I need a calcium, and I need vitamin D, and I need probiotic, and I need all. Sometimes it can be a lot for the average person that's newer to this, right? The everyday person that doesn't have your background experience. So what are maybe like the top 5 things before you mention DMG?
Yeah, I'd say DMG, I mean, just the things that I would say to have on hand in an emergency situation if you're going to call me. Dimethylglycine, DMG, always have that on hand because that's just going to give you enough boost. It's going to give you a good gasoline. I would definitely have colloidal silver on hand of some sort. And there's different types. So you have colloidal silver, which is made, just by putting an electric pulse into silver and ionizing it into water. Then you have a nano silver, which is a smaller particle and has a little bit more biochemistry around it. And then you have a structured nano silver that's actually bound to a water molecule, so it doesn't stay behind and build up as a heavy metal. So there's different types. My go-to would either be structured or nano. I'm not a big fan of colloidal. So like Argentin, like you talked about, that's a nano silver. So a good one. And you want to have applicators in your house, droppers. You can get those again from Amazon, nasal sprayers, or you can go down to the pharmacy. You can buy one of those old nasal sprayers. I don't even know what the brands are called at this point. Dump it out, rinse it and put silver in there and just keep it in a nasal mist sprayer. So there's ways you can do that. So DMG, colloidal silver, you want something for immune boosting, whether it's a comprehensive formula like Immunomax. And I know that you have different delivery systems in these as well. But even if not, you can always puncture a capsule and squeeze it into some juice to get it into your child. So don't think really a lot about like, oh, I got to have everything in every delivery system. You really don't. You can figure it out in a crisis if you need to. So, and then, you want something for digestion. Someone in your house is going to get a bellyache, they're going to get the flu, or they're vomiting. So having either Probzyme, and sometimes you can't handle Probzyme if you have like some sort of, vomiting going on. Or I would probably have GI Complete before anything, because it covers a multitude of things. And usually people can sip on that and keep it down. And then, as a parent, you want some sort of activated charcoal or binder. Your kids, your dogs, even if you have the flu, somebody's going to get into something. You can use charcoal, like you were saying, Jamie, drawing salve was just activated charcoal, probably in a base of like beeswax or calendula. And that was the drawing salve. So if you have activated charcoal, you can brush your teeth with it. Not if you have porcelain veneers, don't do that. It'll whiten your teeth. You can make a poultice out of it. It can draw things. You can take it internally. You can put it on stings, anything like that to draw. So it works on a process called adsorption, which means to bind to, not just absorb, but actually chemically binds to things. So you don't want to take it with your other supplements or with other medications, because obviously it'll bind to them and extract them from your body. But it does work really well with food poisoning. It's my number one when someone calls me and says, I think I ate something bad. What do I do? I'm like, activated charcoal. If you have diarrhea and you got to go somewhere, activated charcoal. You have the flu and it's running through your house. People will call me like, oh, my husband's throwing up and my son, what do I do? Activated charcoal. So it's one of those things. I'm always like, you got to have it on hand. And if one of your kids gets into something, I had a mom one time call me, and she was like, she had a little made up roller ball. I don't know if you're familiar with essential oils, but it's just like a tube, like a clear, like 2-ounce tube with a roller ball that you could dilute essential oils and like put it on your skin. Well, the kid drank it, and she was probably 2 years old. And she's like, what do I do? What do I do? Activated charcoal. So she took activated charcoal, and then, she was concerned. I said, take her to the ER if you're concerned. But when she got there, they were like, no, she's fine. We would have given her charcoal as well. So those are things that, if you have kids, and activated charcoal is one of those major mommy apothecary have on hand things.
Well, I love it. This is fantastic education, Joe. The book is formatted for really easy to read for anybody at any level. You do not need a science background. And in fact, Tracy made it so easy. You can take recommendations right away, right? Yeah. I love it how you can actually build your own little mommy's apothecary or daddy's or family's apothecary just by following it. So it's a great ebook. It's called the Mommy's Apothecary ebook, authored by the one and only, our favorite naturopath, Dr. Tracy Strout. The book is available now online. So what's the link for that, Phil? It's in the chat. There you go. It's right there for everybody to pick up. And, she will be speaking for us, hopefully, at all of our events this year. At least the big one at the beach coming down.
The Dream Team.
So we're excited for that. That is actually March 31st through April 2nd, right there at the Sand Key in Clearwater Beach. So really excited to have her on today. I know she's very busy. So thanks so much for your time. Any parting shots for all the mommies listening out there?
Give yourself some grace. We have kind of come to a time in our lives where, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, but we have been taught these things that we always thought were good. We grew up in the generation of Diet Coke and fast food, and now we're trying to raise kids out of that. It's a tough world, and you're going to get resistance. So, do the things you can. It doesn't have to be this epic upheaval of your lifestyle. A few things that you change, like drinking more water and getting a good multi into your child and a good bedtime, can make massive difference. But the book has everything from supplements to have on hand to also things to keep in your kitchen. So don't think this is just a book about supplements and what you need to have in a cupboard, but it's, how to use garlic, how to, make poultices from certain things. What's the value of olive oil with garlic when you have an ear infection? And then I put, 20 some protocols in there on how to combine everything together, for the most common issues that people call me for. So, but thank you guys for your time and for promoting it. I appreciate it.
Good.
Yeah,
We're
and,
looking forward to the volume
I love
2.
I love the combination of the home remedies, or
Yeah.
even like we call them supplements, but like the oregano section, right? And tying that in with things like garlic, right? So when I go back again, a lot of this was brought up in our childhood because these are things you would do at home without even thinking of it, right? The oil in the ear for an earache, right?
Sure.
All the different therapies. So I feel like she took a lot of the home remedies, added in the comprehensive nutraceuticals, and now has really created this ultimate apothecary that should be for everyone's house.
It is. It's a family apothecary, really, when it comes down to
It
it.
is.
Right?
Yeah, and
It
who
is. I
runs the
should've said it.
family?
The mommy.
Yeah, of course. So thanks again, Joe. Thanks,
All
Dr.
right.
Tracy. Congrats on the book. We're so excited for you, and what a fantastic gift this is to all the moms and all the families out there. So, well, we're going to help you promote this. We appreciate you being so generous with the discount, Joe, all week. So, Joe, it means you got to buy another one.
I'll buy a few more.
Yeah, a couple more. These are great gifts to give. Give the gift of health, right?
That's
what we
right.
always talk about. All right, thanks, Dr. Tracy. Appreciate it. Have a great day, and God bless.